I just recorded a 20+ minute video where some reason it didn't record any of my sound. Welcome back to Unrested, where I will be recording the exact same video again. Oh, so happy to do that. That's always real fun. I'm talking today about Japan's worst politician. And yes, I've talked about some politicians in the past and how evil they were, especially some of the ones that were like YouTube-based politicians. And some of those are going to come up in this video again. If it's your first time here, my name's Unrested. I cover a lot of topics from Japan, from politics to moving to Japan to living there to everything from getting a visa, etc. And today I want to give a shout out to another YouTuber named Dean in Japan, who pretty much filled in all the gaps while I was researching this project. And a lot of times when you do research things like this on clips from different Japanese rags online, everything from the English version to the Japanese version, there's always a little bit of like a missing link in between the timeline of these stories. Dean in Japan is the name of the channel. He does a great job of kind of linking everything up in a proper timeline. And I definitely suggest you go give him a check and let him know Unrested sent you if you want more details on this case I'm covering today. We're talking about Governor Saito Motohiko. Gotta make sure I get that last name right. And really, this guy should change his name Saito to Saite, which pretty much means sucks, because this guy really sucks. Very, very bad oyaji gyagu. Okay, he was already, as we start this story, pretty much hated by the public media. The reason he was because he was already getting a lot of bad press for being a bit of a bully. In fact, he had been reported by his own regional director for power hara. If you don't know what power hara is, it's pretty much power harassment. It's a shortened version of that. And it means you go into work and you just scream at everybody like a big asshole. And actually, there's even been female politicians called out for this before, and employees who have recorded these situations and gotten pretty much the person fired because of this. Japan in general looks down upon this very, very strongly. And they should too, right? Working your job and you're getting harassed for simply just trying to get through your day of 8 to 12 hours. No one deserves that, right? So, and apparently it was so bad that he would leave people crying at work, sobbing in back rooms, sobbing on their breaks, crying through lunch. These are just some of the stories reported by his own regional director. Apparently he was like such, I guess, like, I want to say narcissist, but it's almost kind of a mix between a psycho narcissist. He would do things like make his employees go out and give him stuff, like get him gifts and stuff that he wanted. He requested a Himeji Joe Lego set to be bought for him and didn't pay anybody back for it. That's insane. Like, that's something like maybe my kid wants, I'll get it for his birthday. Not something an adult governor of Hyogo should be receiving or having his employees go out and buy for no reason just because he's like, yo, it'll look cool in my office. You should go get it, dude. And that's pretty much what he's doing. When he would get different donations and stuff like that from benefactors or people who like really liked his campaign, apparently he would keep everything. And this is kind of an insane amount of stuff to keep. Oftentimes they give stuff to governors or politicians or people that they approve of who kind of maybe helped out their business or something, or get something approved that made business easier for them. For example, he was given a load of crab meat. And it's like such a massive amount. Like there's literally like pictures of him with all the crab meat he got that there's no way he could have physically consumed all of it before it went bad. But apparently he took it all home for himself, even though it was like enough to give to him and his whole staff. And apparently he did this also with onions. So I don't know what it would be like to work in this guy's office when he's trying to give in a speech and be like, how was work today? And you're like, oh God, Saito. Apparently he would be known as the human kettle due to the fact that he would, I guess, reach a boiling point and then shout and yell like a little teapot. He once screamed down an employee to the point of tears for being made to walk 20 meters to his place of employment because cars weren't allowed to park where his job was. And there was like a little, stop gap that said, go ahead, park your car here, and then walk the rest of the way. And he apparently screamed at someone so severely like that they broke down and cried. And he was even like, questioned about this by the rest of those employed in politics around Hyogo. They're like, are you really like this big of an asshole, dude? And he's like, I may have reprimanded them a little bit. I don't know. Sorry, dude. He deserved it. Whatever. he was so self-obsessed, and this is where I kind of mix the psycho with the narcissist, that he made vending machines around schools that when you bought a drink, instead of like playing a little chime or a little tune or letting you play like one of those little roulette games that let you win a new drink, sometimes you can win a new drink when these little slot machine games start playing on the machine. Instead, it would just announce, hey, it's me, Saito, your governor. Thanks for buying a drink, bud. Like, something to the equivalent of that. I heard it was just like, I'm the governor's, Motohiko Saito. Thanks for buying a drink. Like, what? Nobody else has ever done that. That's very strange, just so you know. I know there's all kinds of stories about wild vending machines in Japan. Well, that's a new one, the narcissist version. Apparently, he got in fitful rage because one time when he showed up to one school to talk about his campaign, and we're talking like elementary level school, the kids were more excited about the Hyogo mascot that came with Saito and were more interested in like running up and hugging the mascot and talking to the mascot than Saito. Think about that. Elementary school. We're talking first grade on up to sixth grade, all right? Not even middle school age. Of course, they love a big yellow mascot that's happy and cheerful and jumping around and dancing. That's almost like a living cartoon character. Japan's got great mascots. Let's not put that to shame. Saito is a boring politician who, even as an adult, I would find very boring. It would much rather hang out with the mascot too. I agree with those children. He is more interesting. That mascot is better. And this just absolutely enraged him. He like could not believe these kids were not like, oh, Saito, you're the best. Who cares about the mascot? We love your politics. What? Definitely not a father. It got so bad, in fact, and when the report came out by his regional director about what a bully he was, how much power harassment his employees faced, how he would leave people crying and sobbing on their breaks, that there was literally campaigns outside his office for him to quit. And eventually, he was fired, okay? Not before he went after his own regional director and another employee who was included in that report about what an evil man he was. He went after them to a point of slandering their name, saying all kinds of stuff like, they've got dirty stuff on their computer. I know you can't check it because they're a private citizen, but I promise they're just evil people with evil stuff on their computers. And that's why they're coming after me, because I found out that they're evil. And you can imagine what he's, alluding to as far as he knows they have evil stuff on their computer. Mind you, there was no proof of any of this, and because those people working for him were private citizens, they were never investigated. They couldn't be. They were volunteers, okay? So this led to both of those people working for him taking their own life 3 months apart from each other, the regional director and another employee that he slandered. So, I mean, this was it. He was fired. He was done. He got confronted by the press. He got confronted by the rest of the government, the rest of the people outside campaigning for him to quit. There's literally like people holding up signs like, Saito, quit, be fired. We hate you. You suck. And he did. He had to step down, but he wasn't done yet. Oh, not our man Saito. No. Of course, there's an unhappy end to this. He goes for re-election. And how does he do that? How does he go about going for re-election? Well, in a pretty devious way. He decides that he's, instead of going the normal route of walking around and doing the, standing on the back of the van thing with the microphones, shouting at people, which he does do, but he also extends that to YouTube and starts to get himself interviewed by YouTubers. He has them ask questions like, why did you take all those gifts and everything and not let your employees have any? And he's like, I didn't take everything. I just accepted the gifts, I didn't make people go buy me a Himeji Joe Lego castle. They gave it to me as a gift, and I can't say no to a gift. That's really rude in Japan. And he's right, that's true. If you are offered a gift to like push it away or be like, no, thank you, we cannot take this, it would be considered kind of rude. But he's making it look like, I was helpless. I had to accept all these wonderful gifts. Of course, he never does address, like, why are you taking home so much crab meat for yourself that literally you couldn't even finish it if you ate crab for the next 72 hours straight. It's insanity. then he goes on to be like, and also, yeah, the guy who apparently called me out, my regional director, he was an evil dude. I've never bullied anybody. As you notice, no one's coming out to, call me out as a bully anymore or anything like that. Of course, two of the people who did were now passed away. Of course, they can't come out and defend themselves. And then one of the worst things ever happened. He teamed up with a guy who I've talked about in a previous video, known as NHK Tachibana. And I hate the fact that I even have to go back into talking about this guy because he's such a mongrel of a person. He used to work for NHK, and his big claim to fame was that after he got fired for NHK for having a discrepancy for the funds he collected, because if you don't know, NHK goes door to door to collect money to help them with their public broadcasting, because that's what they are, a public broadcasting channel in Japan. He decided to go anti-NHK after he got fired and started a whole political campaign going anti-NHK to tell you how to scare away the people who come to your door from NHK, which they are very annoying. How you could scare them away and make sure you don't ever have to pay them money ever again. And he even went so far as to even make like stickers you could put on your door. And this was his whole campaign. Anti-NHK. I hate NHK. You do too, and you don't want to pay that money to them anymore. They collect anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 yen. I mean, it really isn't worth it. I'll be honest with you. NHK doesn't put anything out that I would pay that much for. But to run a whole campaign on it, I don't know about that. Where he really went wrong, because people did actually really like this campaign, was that he said once he was elected, his next big move, was that he was going to bring on the CEO of NHK and grill him about why he keeps going around to collect money from people. And to kind of blackmail him into coming to this interview, he brought old accounts from his old job as an NHK collector and blurred out these different names and phone numbers and addresses of past customers who had paid money, and said he was going to reveal each one of them until he came on for an interview. Now, this is weird. I don't know why you would do this. This is malicious for the people who are completely innocent for simply paying their NHK bill. And it's not really a bill, I should say. It's like a collection or a donation. And he was just going to reveal these innocent people's complete address, names, full phone numbers, everything, dox them more or less. And of course, the police are kind of like, you can't do that. Like, that's private information. You can't dox people on TV and do this, because this is where he was going to do it. And so he got a 4-year suspended sentence in jail for doing that. And so now his campaign just goes down the tubes. He's complete trash. People hate him now. He never gets the interview with the CEO because the CEO is like, what are you doing? And instead, he starts to go on this wild, insane campaign where his new thing is that he hates the Jews and that Jews control all money in the world. I'm not making this up. And of course, I don't agree with any of this craziness. But that's his campaign now. And you might think like, well, maybe you're exaggerating a bit. No, go look at his online actual ads for his campaign where he literally just says straight up like, Jews steal all the money and stuff like that, like word for word verbatim in Japanese, of course. This is NHK Tachibana, okay? And this is the person that starts to come along to help Saito. All right. Now, instead of running for his own campaign anymore, because let's be honest, Tachibana's campaign is sunk. He's pretty much destroyed it by what he did for getting a 4-year suspended sentence and, talking trash about Jews, which is just insane. He decides to completely turn his campaign as backing up Saito. So every time Saito goes out and gives a speech in public, for example, the van pulls up, they start yelling on the microphones to everyone, hey, it's me, Saito, these are the things I'm going to do if I'm reelected as governor of Hyogo, how much I'm going to change it, because I really love Hyogo people, I really care about you, I'm going to make these big changes and stuff like that. But he doesn't actually talk about like any of his past, his sort of dreaded past of bullying and power hara and, actual deaths linked to him and stuff like that. And the way he does this is very sneakily by driving off, heading to the next campaign point, and then Tachibana shows up and says, hey guys, I'm just here to let you know, I'm Tachibana, I've got connections to the media, and I can tell you the media has been lying about Saito this whole time. He's a stand-up guy, he's never bullied anyone, I've met him personally. Everything you've ever heard about him negatively in the past is a complete lie made by the media. And Japanese people bought it up. They sucked it. They're like, really? Are you serious? Okay, that's crazy. Wow. I really thought Saito was an evil dude. but Tachibana, you're coming out here. I mean, I guess you're looking out for my best interest. I don't know why they would believe this guy after the horrible things he said and did, but they are. Saito's campaign is starting to gain some steam. He's starting to make a comeback. In fact, he starts to go on other YouTube channels, and I actually have them listed here because they come up later in the story. Nakata University is another channel that supported him, started talking about like, oh yeah, everything the media said was lies. And then another one, Kaede Orita, who's kind of like this travel blogger sort of person, also talks about like how she really, likes the things that Saito does, and that from what she's heard, he's a decent dude. And I want you to remember that name, Kaede Orita. Okay, this name comes up later in the story when we have a certain plot twist. Okay, so because his campaign is doing so well, a bit of dread starts to happen deep in the hearts of those in politics in Hyogo. So much so that an old school retired opponent comes out, Kazumi Inamura, and she was the past governor of Hyogo. And she comes out of retirement because she's kind of like, ooh, this is bad news bears, okay? We don't want Saito running things, the evil dude who like bullies and harasses his own employees until they take their life. Let's not have Hyogo run by this guy. So she comes out of there, and she's beloved from the past. She's well known. She has no bad history. She did a great job when she was the actual governor, but she had retired. She did her full, service and everything, checked out, and was good for, whatever she had done for that time. She comes back into the picture and is like, all right, I'm going to campaign and let people know kind of like what I'm going to do to help get Hyogo back on its feet after being run poorly by this Saito guy. But it doesn't go well for her. And the reason it doesn't go well for her is because apparently there's so many big supporters of Saito now that there's people showing up to her campaign meetings where, you've seen the stuff where they get up on the vans, they grab all the microphones, they talk to the public. It's very loud, it's very public. But because it's public, people can come up and just start shouting in the middle of your speeches. I've done this when I've told people to shut up when they started spouting this stuff at 8 a.m. in front of my apartment, and my poor son is sick, and he's just a baby still, and he hasn't slept through the night, neither have I, and they decide to sit up in front of my apartment. I'm like, get the hell out of here. You're not doing this here. And they'll pull away. They get actually kind of embarrassed if you call them out. But usually they do it in better places, like actually like in front of a mall or like a district like Shibuya or Shinsaibashi, someplace like that, where it's more like open to the public and loud already. Doing it in private residential zone areas is very strange, but it still does happen. She's doing it in the right areas, and so is he. They're not breaking the rules or anything like that. But what is very odd is that when she does show up to these areas to do her campaigns, disruptors are kind of like running into, I guess, the crowd and being like, shut up, Kazumi, you suck. I've heard that you're pro-terrorist. And you're like, what? Who's running on that campaign? Pro-terrorist campaign sounds like a really bad running stage. They accuse her of being like pro-terrorist, of allowing immigrants in who have been connected to terrorism in the past, which I guess like somewhere in the world, every race has been, I guess, connected to terrorism in the past, if you want to put it that way. But if you haven't figured it out yet, Japan is kind of very anti-immigration. And they make it look like she's running on a platform of like super ultra pro, open the floodgates, let every immigrant in possible. Like people are coming into the crowd and yelling like, you're pro-terrorist, you're going to invite all these people from this country where there was just a huge terrorist attack to come live in Japan, you suck. And she's like, what? Excuse me, what? No, I'm not. That has nothing to do with my campaign. She's like really confused, you can tell. And in complete opposite side on Saito's campaigns, he's starting to notice when he shows up to places, it's wild. There'll be people in the audience who'll be like, Saito, I heard what the media said about you was a lie. Is that true? And he'll be like, sir, first of all, thank you for speaking up. Yes, of course it was a lie. You can't believe everything the media tells you. And they're like, yeah, I heard it was a lie. Another person shouts out from the audience, yeah, he's a good dude from what I heard. And you're just like, wow, this is crazy. This doesn't usually happen when people go and give their speeches in Japan. It's kind of considered sort of rude, actually, to just shout out, even if you are pro the person speaking or anti the person speaking. Like, if you start to do that, people look at you like you're kind of crazy. And even Saito himself's kind of like, all right, people, calm down. I know you love me, but let's take it easy here, all right? This is a campaign speech. You can't be shouting over each other. And people are like, all right. Man, Saito, that Saito guy, good dude, right? So this is very strange. On top of it, even crazier yet, is Kazumi's campaign. Every time she tries to set up a campaign site, every time she tries to go on any sort of social media like Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok, her accounts keep getting suspended. She's being mass reported by people who just hate her to like no end. Even some of the YouTube channels talking about Saito's campaign start talking trash about her. She's a really evil person. She loves terrorists. She's a terrorist lover. What? That's crazy. So, the day of the election comes about, and of course, you're thinking, our evil man Saito. Hopefully, people remember what he's done in the past about how his regional director and one of his other employees took their own life due to the level of harassment and slander that came about while they were working for him. And drum roll, it turns out he's won. It's amazing. It's a shock to everybody. They can't believe it. He's back. All right, he's back in the seat. He's back on the throne. All right, Saito's back. He made it. In fact, Kazumi didn't even really get to get her points across. And when she's actually questioned about why she didn't win, she's like, I don't know what this whole campaign was about. Like she's really, you can just see the confusion on her face. Like, I don't understand what his points even were for running as the governor. I don't know what he had against me, because it was always just these strange lies, and I don't even understand the platform he's running on and the things he's talking about. It just doesn't make any sense to me. She's very genuinely confused when questioned about why she didn't win, because she's the beloved ex-governor, right? And he's this old-time hated guy from the past who's, I guess, apparently been redeemed in the Japanese eyes. So it's going good. He's like, I'm back in office 1 week in. This is awesome. All right, things are getting back in order. I can start to get my free crab meat and onions. Maybe I'm going to get Osaka Joe Lego playset next. Who knows, guys? Who knows? The future's open wide. Well, there's a bit of a hiccup 1 weekend, and that hiccup comes from one of the YouTubers that Saito dealt with in the past. This name, Kaede Orita. This girl's amazing. Because she's so dumb, she's so unaware of how politics work. And let me just explain this real quick. I didn't explain this earlier, and I should have. When you have a team that helps you during a political campaign, that entire team needs to be 100% volunteer. And there's a really good reason behind this. The reason behind this is because Japan wants to make it so that any financial class of any person, from the lowest poverty-stricken levels up to, the biggest bank CEO, every echelon of society has a chance to run for these positions in Japan. So you cannot hire a staff to do this. You cannot pay people to do this. Everybody who helps you with your campaign needs to be volunteer. And they check this, and they check this thorough. All right. There was a guy who simply hired an ex-girl band member to hand out his flyers. That's the only thing he did. A little bit of money to her, a couple ichiman here and there, a couple $100 here and there. He's just like, you're a cute kawaii girl. Go hand out my flyers. More people will take them. And he was right. They did. They took them. All right. Because she was kawaii. But then he got arrested because you can't pay people to help you with your campaign. But Kaede didn't know that. She didn't know that at all. In fact, she comes on YouTube and makes an entire video that's like, we won. Yes, I am awesome. I am like the best YouTuber and PR team ever. In fact, I own an entire PR company that worked for Saito and did everything from filming his different campaign sites, to doing his SNS, to covering his social media, to hiring disruptors and supporters to come out to disrupt Kazumi and support him when he's giving speeches. And we even went on and did a whole smear campaign against Kazumi. And we even talked about, how when the director took his own life, that was a complete lie, that it was because of Saito. I made sure I slandered him, I made sure he had all this stuff made up about him. We won, we're awesome. And everyone's kind of like, ooh, she doesn't know, does she? She doesn't know. And Kaede didn't know. She didn't know you can't be paid to be part of someone's campaign. And she just comes right out and exposes everything, because she doesn't understand that she's not supposed to reveal that she was paid to do this. So now we're talking current day, right about now. He is completely being grilled. He's being cooked. Saito is on the chopping block. He's apparently already had one court hearing he's needed to show up to, and he just skipped. He just didn't show up to. He just I'm going to decline that, thank you very much. Next time, he's probably going to be forcefully led by the police because he does need to attend these hearings. He will be arrested. He will be sent to jail. If the one guy hiring an ex-girl band member to hand out flyers goes to jail, definitely this guy's going to go to jail for how much he spent and all the devious ways he used to fight back against Kazumi and try to repair his career. There was recently a press conference with him, and he is just stuttering. He's just kind of losing his mind. He's kind of just like he can't answer anything. They're just like, so why did you do this? And he's like, well, see, the thing is, the way I understand it, they're like, no, we're not asking you how you understand it. Why did you hire someone when you know you're not allowed to hire someone? He's like, but what? Here's the thing that you need to realize. And they're like, no, don't tell us what we need to realize. Why did you hire someone? He's just kind of like, awkward silence. All right, that should be put there in subtitles. And that is currently the state of Mr. Saito. And his fate is sealed. I don't think you'll see him in office much longer. It's only been like a week or two right now, and he's most likely going to be fired a second time, and this time with jail time included as a bit of a bonus. What did you guys think of that story today? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would really, really like if I could get a comment or a like or a sub. But what I want to do even more so is send you back over to the person who pretty much set out a timeline for me to better understand this whole election process. Dean in Japan. I want to spell out the channel Dean in Japan. All right, Dean in Japan. Go check him out. Dude's got a great news channel all about Japan. If you do go over there, tell him Unrested sent you. Give him a sub, give him a like, give him a comment, make that algorithm work for him. And hopefully, definitely a channel that deserves to be way bigger than mine. Hopefully he gets there. And other than that, I'd like to ask for my own likes and subs. Can I ask for that? Is that okay? If you are still here right now, please think about joining me tonight for our live stream. I'll be on there live streaming from about maybe 5:30, 5:45 Eastern Standard Time here in Florida. And we're probably going to be playing like a role-playing game online and having some viewers role-playing that. It's my own original TTRPG. If you like any of this art you see back here, it's all about this. It's my own created world. If you've ever wondered about the world that you always see here behind me that I've been drawing all the time, now's your chance to learn about it by joining my live stream. But we also will talk about Japan stuff. Of course, you can always come on there and ask a JFAQ question. That's fine. And we'll be playing a little bit of a game called Me-Side, which is a really cool Japanese game about being sucked into a sort of Tamagotchi pet game and trying to escape. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed what you've seen here today. I am Unrested, and I'll talk to you again real soon.